Welcome to 12D Field Pickup Fundamentals using Survey Data Reduction Pickup, or better known as SDR Pickup. In today's talk, we're going to discuss the difference between SDR Pickup and Basic Pickup, and how to define what the user can apply in terms of attributable input and data manipulation operations while using SDR Pickup, what the main SDR Pickup panel buttons do, and finally, we're going to utilize some common data reduction functionality while conducting a survey. G'day. I'm Ben Murphy and I work for EXDS. I've been in the survey industry since 2006 and a qualified surveyor since 2011. I predominantly focused my career in the construction and cadastral disciplines of surveying, and I've been working for EXDS since putting the survey tools down in 2019. I now provide technical support and training for 12D model and 12D field users. I hope you find this talk beneficial in gaining some knowledge about 12D Field's SDR Pickup, and I hope you can utilise what you learn. Let's get stuck into it, shall we? So what's Basic Pickup? It's just that, basic. Basic Pickup allows the surveyor to store points in a specified model with a specified code, colour, line style, weight, and pickup ID. So what makes SDR Pickup different? Well, for one, it's far from basic. SDR Pickup allows you to store huge amounts of information on your survey data. A large portion of this information is prompted and stored by user-defined attributes. It allows for multi-coding and has a vast range of opcode functionality. But most importantly, SDR Pickup drastically reduces time spent in the office, resulting in a great weapon of choice for beating the project clock. You'll soon see when I demonstrate a survey using the 12D Field simulator. SDR Pickup requires an attribute definition file to be nominated in the function. This file is known as the 12D Field Codes file. This is where you can define the survey codes with associated attributes and also what opcodes are available to you in the field. I look at this file as the brains of the SDR Pickup operation. The SDR Pickup panel is comprised of two tabs, the Pickup tab and the Other tab. On the Pickup tab, there are two states of play, one when selecting the code column and the other when selecting the string column. Both states of the Pickup tab are pretty much the same except for a few buttons. So what do all these buttons do? Well, let's get stuck into it. CD will bring up the opcode selection panel. CI will display the code information that's been specified in the 12D Field Codes file for that code. OC will bring up the opcode selection panel, and UN will undo the last stored shot. If you select a string number in the grid, you'll be presented with some extra buttons to control string functionality. These buttons are SE, which will allow you to create a new string number for that code, S+, which will increment the string number for that code, S-, which will decrement the string number for that code, and SN, which will take you to the next string number for that code, and if that doesn't exist, it will go to the next code in the list. The fast partial recalc tick box, if ticked, will enable the recalc button on the Pickup tab. M will take a measurement, and once this button is pressed, buttons S and R will become available. S will store that measurement and prompt the user for the attributes. R will record that measurement, but store them with the previously stored attributes from the shot taken before. MS will measure and store. MR will measure and record. CM will activate the measurement panel, which allows the user to swing or change the distance of the shot. Any button with a lowercase f allows the user to activate the delay measurement mode. Now this is extremely handy if you need to steady your pole before taking a shot. You can press any of these buttons, it'll pop up with a panel. You can steady your pole, and then all you need to do is press anywhere on the screen and the shot will be taken. TF will open the Travis Foresight panel, and D- will minimize the panel so only the measurement buttons are available. The smaller buttons on the right-hand side of the panel will allow the user to delete a row from the grid, delete all codes in the grid, reverse the order of the grid, and open up the SDR settings panel. This panel can also be opened from the Other tab, and on this tab, the user can do a full recalc on the function and do some limited edits to the field file. To learn more about the advanced options within SDR Pickup, I suggest taking a look at Graham Worth's talk titled 12D Field V15. So now let's take a look at SDR Pickup in action. Okay, before we fire up 12D Field and SDR Pickup, just want to talk about the data set that's on the screen. This is just a bit of a dummy subdivision. I've created a few points down here, and these are purely just so I can snap to them in the simulator, because obviously I'm not using a real instrument. I'm using a simulated instrument, so I need to be able to snap to something. So we're going to come up to survey, down to 12D field, and I'm actually going to park this menu out to the side here, and we'll fire up 12D field. I'm going to use the TPS simulator, hit use, and this panel pops up and tells me my current station. So this is the station I was set up on last time I used 12D field. I'm going to hit finish on that guy. And if we come up to the menu, we can come down to pickup and choose pickup SDR. Now the same panel pops up, and the reason being is I have this tick box here and it says show the setup details at startup and also when I start SDR pickup. So it just allows me to have a quick look at our station, make sure there's no funny business going on there, and I can go ahead and hit proceed. This takes us to the next panel where it asks us, do we want to use the current SDR function? So this is the SDR function that was last used in this project. Or do we want to use an existing one? So I can choose from other SDR functions that have been created in the project. Or do I want to create a new one? And that's what we want to do. We want to create a new one. So once you do that, it takes you to this panel here and says create. The panel config, this is the file that opens up the SDR function panel. This can be customized, so it means that the SDR function panel can be pre-filled with map files or whatever you want to, and you can take unnecessary tabs out. The backup settings, so do we want to save our project on a new SDR function? Of course. I'm a big fan of backups. Autosave SDR function after 5 minutes. Yep. Autosave SDR function after 25 shots. That's fine with me. Do I want to export a 12D field XML file on the exit of SDR pickup? I would suggest always having this ticked on. These are ticked on by default because it can't hurt to have backups, right? So let's go ahead and hit create. And that's going to open up the 12D field create a pickup function panel. And you'll notice that this is very similar to the 12D field survey field file create. It's almost identical. So that's because we are using survey data reduction functionality inside 12D field. So first thing we need to do is give it a function name. Let's call it SDR survey TF2021. I can go ahead and hit enter, and that'll populate all the other fields for me. But most importantly, I can't run this function without an attribute definition file. Now the attribute definition file we have here is the tech form 2021 12D field codes. And I'll open that up in a minute to show you what that looks like inside. And that's basically what we need as a bare minimum to start SDR pickup. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. That now opens up the 12D field SDR pickup panel. And the first thing you'll notice is we already have some codes in the grid here. Now the reason these are here is because last time I did SDR pickup, these are the codes that I used, and the SDR pickup panel remembers those codes. So I want to get rid of them. I want to start from scratch. All we need to do is come over to our delete all button, hit that, and hit yes, and that'll blow them all away. So we're going to start from scratch. We're going to do a little bit of a survey here. We're going to pick up some trees and a service down the middle, and maybe some of the curb, just to show you a bit of the functionality. So the first thing I want to do is I want to pick up a tree. So if we come down and we snap to, say, this guy, and I'll go ahead and hit code. I know that the code for tree is TR, so I can hit TR and I could do tree 0. But let's say I didn't know what the code was. Let's say I'm new to this code list and I need to find the code for tree. I could hit the ABC button. This will open up the feature codes panel. Before we go any further, I'll open up the 12D field codes file. So open up the 12D field codes editor. And we'll just bring this guy across here. The file I want to read in is the tech form 2021. I'm going to read that in. We'll notice here that we have two folders, one called feature codes and one called opcodes. The opcodes have a list of all the opcodes that will be available when I press the opcode button. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And the feature codes are all the survey codes that I have available when I press the CD button. So we can see here we've got boundaries, bridge, building feature, and over here we've got boundaries, bridge, building feature. So this over here is the grouping that we have in these files. So if I come across and we hit vegetation and then choose tree, I can come down here to vegetation and we can see that we have the code tree. I'm just going to expand that out to show the children under the code tree. Children or attributes, whatever you want to call them. If I give this 0 because I don't want to string it, and we'll hit OK. And I come across and hit measure. It's going to prompt me for my target height. Yep, I'm happy with 1.3. And if I hit store, a panel pops up and asks me to input some attribute values. Now we can see here the first one is species, second one is trunk size, spread and comment. We've got species, trunk size, spread and comment. The one thing you'll notice is that comment is grayed out. Now the reason that comment is grayed out, if we come to here, is because I have the optional box ticked. So this means that the user does not have to fill a value out for this comment if he does not want to, or she does not want to. You can continue without putting a value in there. However, these other ones that are not grayed out must have a value to continue. So species, if I come to species, we'll see that it's a drop-down choice. And we'll see that the choices correspond with the list that I have in this file. That's because I've made it a choice attribute. I've given it some values to choose from. And I've also given it a message that says, what is the tree species? We can see that this message pops up on the panel. So it's pretty cool. You can put lots of different messages in here, bucket loads of choices, and it makes it very user-friendly for the surveyor out in the field. Let's go ahead and we'll pick a gum tree. Let's give it a trunk size of say 2 meters, and let's not give it a spread size and hit set. I can't set or continue unless I give it a spread size. Now the reason being is spread, I have not ticked optional, it is mandatory. I cannot go any further without giving it a value. And it's a real attribute, so I can give it a value with a decimal place, so I could give it 3.5 if I want. So let's go ahead and give it 3.5, hit set, and then continue. And that shot has now been stored with those attributes. I'm going to close down this guy. And let's go ahead and pick up another tree. And instead of hitting measure then store this time, I'm just going to hit the measure store button, and that'll say measure store. It pops up with a panel, and you'll notice that the attributes have been pre-filled as per the last shot. Now, all I might want to do here is just change the trunk size, and let's change this trunk size to 1. And I can hit set and then continue. We'll go and pick up another tree. Now, let's say that I know that this tree is going to be the exact same as this tree. I want to store the exact same attributes as the previous one. Instead of hitting measure store and then set and then continue, I can hit the MR button, and you'll see the panel will flash up really quickly, and then the point will be stored. So we'll go ahead and hit MR. There's the flash, and that tree is now being stored. So that's the basics of picking up some stuff using the code button. I want symbols to pop up and line styles to pop up as I'm doing this survey. To do that, we need to apply a map file. Now, when I set this function up, I didn't specify a map file. That doesn't matter. The great thing about SDR is I can come up to survey and come to edit. I can edit the function while I still have SDR Pickup open, which is very handy. We can come and choose our function, which is SDR Survey TF2021. And all I need to do now is come down and choose the map file I want to apply, that guy there, and we'll give it a prefix. Let's call it TF2021 space. And then the other thing I want to do is these attributes get stored under the code name. So I want these attributes to be stored as top tier attributes, because my map file works on top tier attributes, not on attributes under a code name. So for example, the symbols aren't going to apply for tree if I don't make those attributes top tier, because the map file says if you find an attribute of spread or trunk size, do this, not if you find an attribute of tr/spread. So all we need to do is come under the extra tab, down to keep, and I'm going to change to skip when string name. If you want to know more about this, you can see my other talk on 12D survey fundamentals, or Graham Worth's talk on 12D field v15. If I go ahead and hit reduce now, you'll notice that those yellow dots that were on those trees, those shots that we had, have now disappeared. That's because they are not sitting in our default model anymore. They are now sitting under the model that we gave a prefix of TF2021. You can turn those guys on, and we can now see that symbols have been placed on the shots taken, one for the spread and the brown one for the trunk. So let's go over and shoot another tree. And let's say I wanted to get the tree right at the center of the trunk. Obviously I can't get a shot at the center of the trunk. I'll need to add a distance, so I can stand in front of the tree. I can come down and hit the confirm measure. And this will pop up the confirm measurement panel. This allows me to specify a distance to offset the measurement by, whether I want to go left, right, up, down. I can do it by bearing, or I can do it by specifying a distance. So I'm just going to say 2 meters here. We're going to say single. Now if I hit store, it's going to ask me to prompt for attributes. If I hit record, it's just going to store it with the same attributes as before. I'm going to go ahead and hit store. And let's change this guy. Let's make it a palm tree, and let's make it a little bit bigger. We'll make it 5, and let's make the spread something like 14. I hit set and then continue. You'll notice that the tree hasn't calculated, it hasn't got its symbol on it, it hasn't actually moved from where I've got the shot. To do that, I just got to go down and hit the recalc button to recalc the function. So I'll go ahead and hit recalc. And we'll see that the tree has been moved from where the shot was taken, and it has the appropriate symbols applied to it. Now, this function will get rerun every time I hit recalc, or if I go ahead and change code or add a new code. So for example, if I come down and choose another tree, down here, and I say MR, for example, you'll notice that it hasn't calculated the function. I could hit recalc, but let's go ahead and start picking up our service here. I'm going to come up, I think I called it manhole. Let's say it's a sewer main. I'm going to come up, I'm going to hit code, and it will pick up the manhole. So I can't remember what the code is. We'll come to our grouping, find sewer and sewer manhole. We'll pick that, I'm going to give it a 0 there, and I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to move my instrument to take the shot over onto the manhole. And if we have a look down here at the tree after I take the shot, it should recalculate. I'm going to hit measure store, and there we go. The tree has had its symbols added to it because the function is recalculated as soon as I hit measure store. Now we have another panel pop up with attributes for the sewer manhole. Utility owner, let's say cancel, manhole diameter, I don't know, 3 meters. Set, continue. You now come down and see that the manhole's had its symbol applied to it from the map file, specified by the sizing of the attribute value. Let's go ahead and pick up the sewer main. So I'm going to come to this guy here, and we need to change the code. So we'll come back to our CD button. Now I know that sewer main is SM, not SMH, so all I need to do is backspace that, give it a string number. Let's give it a string number of 1, and hit OK. I can now go measure store. Pops up with a panel specified with the attributes need to fill out for sewer main string 1 or sewer main strings. Utility owner, let's say it's cancel still. Justification, let's say invert. Pipe diameter, what's a good size? We'll say 4 meters just so we can see it in 3D mode. Material, concrete, condition, I have to give it one to continue, so let's say pour. We can hit set and then continue. We can now come down to the next shot. Oops. And it's the same details, so I'm going to hit MR. And come down to the next shot. Same details, MR. Down to the next shot, same details, MR. Now you'll notice that the string is grey. It's the same thing as the tree before. The line style and piping hasn't been applied yet. The function needs to be recalced for it to be applied. So if we go ahead and hit the recalc button, we can now see that that string has now been given a line style, a color. And if we come across to 3D mode and turn our models on, turn the sewer model on, we can now see that a pipe has been created. So that's pretty cool. On the fly, we can create 3D pipes. On the fly, the map file gets applied straight away. All that stuff that would normally be done after the field or after the survey's done is being done on the fly. So if we come down to our next sewer main shot, down here, I'm going to hit MR again. And let's come down and get this shot here. But before I store this shot, I've got another point over here. So I'm going to run a second sewer main string just to demonstrate multi-coding. So all I need to do is do the multi-codes is come up to CD here. The code that we are running at the moment is sewer main string 1. I want to add another string called sewer main string 2. All I need to do is hit the multi-coding button, type in SM, and the string number we'll make it is 2, and I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit OK again, and we'll notice that a little star gets put after the SM. That's to say that there is a multi-code on this string at the moment. So if I hit measure store, it pops up with the previous attribute details from the last sewer main string. Yep, I'm happy with that. I can hit set and continue, and then the panel pops up again. So these are the attributes that I'm specifying for string 2. Let's say that it's the same. Let's just say this one's newly installed. I can hit set and then continue, and then I can come down and finish my first string off down the bottom here. And to do that, I need to take the multi-code back off. So I just hit the code button, come to multi-code, and all I need to do is untick this box to say use multi-coded points. So I untick it, it all grays out, hit OK again, and the little star disappears. I can then hit measure store, prompts me for the values, I can hit set, continue, and then all I need to do is finish off my string 2. So I'm going to come over to this shot here, and we're going to go code. But before I do that, we can see that the green line here is showing where the string will go. If I was to hit measure store or measure record now, it would join string 1 up to here because I have sewer main string 1 active. So all we need to do is go to CD, change this 1 to a 2, hit OK. We'll now see that green line disappears, and I can hit measure store, pops up with the attribute values for sewer main 2. I can hit set and then continue. And because I changed and created a new string in there, it's recalced the whole function, and there we have it. 2 sewer main strings, multi-coded the second string from that point there out to there. So that's how multi-code works. If I come up to do another tree, I can come and select that point. All I need to do is come and select TR in the list, and it makes that code active. I could hit measure store, and it'll pop up with the last values for the last time I shot a tree. So that's a palm. Let's make this one a willow, and hit set and then continue. And we'll get another tree shot. Oops. And let's hit MR and continue. I'm going to recalc those guys, and there's our willow trees. Now let's say I didn't want to call that a tree. I could just hit undo, and it'll undo the last measurement, and that measurement has now been undone. Now to do a bit of opcode functionality, I'm going to pick up the back of the curb here. We're going to get a couple of shots, but then I want to arc 3 of the points. So to do that, I need to first go to where I want to get the shot. So we'll come down to somewhere around here. And I need to pick a code. We'll go down to road feature, and back of curb will do. Give it a string name of 3. Hit OK. Now I can go ahead and hit measure store. Put a comment if I want. Good condition. I can hit set and then continue. I can come and get another shot. Just hit MR this time. Yep. Come over here. We'll get another shot around about here. And hit MR. Now let's say these 3 shots that I just took, I want to create an arc from. So I could come down to my opcode button. And in my opcode menu, I have arc previous 3 points. If I click on that, pops up with a panel and says, what's the feature code and string number that you want to apply this to? It was BK and string number 3. If I hit set and then continue, that opcode has now been applied in the file. Obviously, it hasn't done it graphically because I need to recalc the function. We'll go ahead and get another shot first, up to here, and I'll hit measure store, set, good. And if I go ahead and hit recalc, we'll now see that opcode has been applied. The whole function has been recalced, that opcode's been applied, and I now have a nice smooth arc there. So I can recalc the function by this RC button here, or I can come to the other tabs and hit the main recalc button, which will recalc the whole function. The other handy thing that you can do inside SDR Pickup is you can do some edits to the field file. Now this is limited. You can't do all the edits you could do by closing down SDR Pickup and coming to survey, edit, and edit field data. But you can do things like, oh, what happens if I gave this tree diameter a wrong size? So I could come to edit. I could use my little pink arrow picker here. I could pick this tree, and I'll bring this panel over here and expand it out a bit more. Now there's the measurement. I can expand that out. I can see right here the offset measurement. So that's the offset I applied there. If I needed to change that offset, I could double click on it, and let's say instead of 2, we make it 4. And I hit apply. We'll see that tree has now been pushed on another 2 meters. I can hit finish. But what I wanted to do was change the diameter of the trunk. We can expand out the attributes and just drill down until we find the trunk attribute. And let's say 5 wasn't the case, it's a bit too large, it was more like 2. Applying 2, hit apply, and now that function has been rerun and the symbol has been adjusted to the appropriate value. So that's pretty handy. I really like that function in SDR Pickup. That's the basics of it all. I hope you've got something out of this. I'd love to keep talking about it. We could go into some advanced settings, but I think Graham Worth will talk about that in his 12D Field V15 talk. So you can do things like audio messages and photos. Yeah, the SDR panel, if you wanted to have the confirm measurement turned on every time you took a shot, you just tick that box. You can change the grid size, you can change the position indicator, which is this little guy over here. So if you wanted to change that from a 0 to something else, a question mark, exclamation mark, you can do that through the settings. So that's 12D Field SDR Pickup fundamentals. That's it for me today. Thank you for your time, and I hope you found today's talk beneficial. If you'd like to know more about 12D Model or 12D Field, please contact your local 12D representative.